Hi guys, I'm Shmi and today is pretty much a perfect day. As you can tell, the weather is absolutely gorgeous and the view up here is pretty breathtaking because we're in the hills above Malibu, just outside Los Angeles, California. And this down here is the Mulholland Highway, a pretty famous road known locally as the Snake. I've been up here to film a couple of times before, but it's absolutely a delight to drive on this road. And the reason today is a perfect day gets even better than just having the road, because I'm going to be driving in this, the itswhitenoise Porsche Boxster Spyder. If you followed my Instagram, you'll know that itswhitenoise very kindly lent me the car to drive over a few days here in Los Angeles, which I have very much enjoyed. It is one of the perfect cars for this neighborhood. As you can tell, this is an enthusiast neighborhood. Bikes and cars left, right and center coming up the road. But back to the car, the Boxster Spyder. Now, of course, the Spyder is to the Boxster kind of how my GT4 is to the Cayman. It's the sort of final version of the 981 Boxster with the 3.8 litre flat six engine from the 911 Carrera S. So it's a pretty special car. It has the 6-speed manual gearbox. The engine is slightly detuned versus the GT4. It has 375 PS instead of the 385 PS, but I don't think real world you're ever going to notice that 10 horsepower difference. It doesn't, however, have the GT4's suspension system that comes from the 911 GT3, so it's running on the normal Boxster GTS suspension. And the standard tyres here, the Pirelli P0, obviously don't offer quite the same amount of grip as the Michelin Sport Cup 2s that are on the GT4. However, it looks awesome. Obviously, it keeps the design same as the GT4 on the front bumper and the rear bumper, but the big difference is all about the roof. Now, the normal Boxster 981 version has a very quick electrically folding roof mechanism that just lifts it over and puts it down on the rear shelf. The Spyder maintains that sort of distinct shape with the sort of double humps behind the headrests, but here the roof mechanism is manual. Now I'm going to show you this a little bit further on. The reason for it is to take out 11 kilos of weight, and obviously it's 11 kilos from the very top of the car by having this all being a manual process. It's not particularly complicated, and I'll show you that later on. But obviously taking 11 kilos away from the top brings down the centre of gravity, and that's what makes it a very, very fun car to drive. It does still have a luggage compartment in the boot as well as in the front, so maintains a lot of practicality, just like we all know Boxsters do. And there's some great technology and, you know, all the sort of creature comforts and equipment that you'd want to have in the car. This particular car is black on black, as are all of the cars in the itswhitenoise collection. I mean, to date so far, I've also filmed with the 918, GT3 RS, GT4, so a pretty special selection of cars, and also some more have appeared on my Instagram as well, and I'm sure there will be more in the future, so do go and give itswhitenoise a follow. Big shout out to them, because it is absolutely awesome to be able to drive this car around here in California. While I'm thinking about it, Spyder also has different wheels to the GT4, but the interior is much the same. The Alcantara and leather mix. This car set up with the red stitching, red door handles to match with the red brake calipers. And it just has a really cool shape to it. It's very distinctive. You know it's the Boxster Spyder immediately. And it just looks very, very nice. Now you'll have to excuse if the car looks a little bit dusty on the camera. It has a ceramic layer on top of the paint, so we're not going to wash it the normal way. It needs to be done properly, but I wanted to come out and shoot a video with the car while I still have it. So I think, without much more hanging around, I should jump in and I'm going to take this car for a little drive. Let's pull away then. Obviously, for me, left-hand drive car, I'm used to my right-hand drive cars. It's always super strange driving a manual when you're shifting gears with your right hand, not with your left. But this is such a nice car to drive, and it's a lovely short throw on the gear stick, just like the GT4, so it is a true delight. I'm starting off in the completely normal settings, which immediately is a lot softer than the GT4 is. So the car has a couple of different setups, because GT4 basically just has normal, sport, and one suspension setting mode. The standard suspension on GT4 is set up in Nürburgring mode, so it's basically exactly how they set a Nürburgring lap time. In this car, the configuration you have is the option to put it into Sport or into Sport Plus. Now Sport obviously firms things up a little bit, Sport Plus a little bit more, and that introduces the automatic rev blipping that the GT4 does when you put it into Sport mode. So the settings are a little bit different, and you've also got an exhaust button to open the valves, just like GT4. So we're in quiet mode right now, and as you can hear, there's not a whole lot of noise coming out of it. So I'm going to quickly press the Sport button, which is right next to another button for putting the wing up and down. And there's a little bit more popping and burbling and crackling going along behind. But we're more or less just coasting downhill on this exceptionally tight and twisty road. But that's where a car like this comes into its own, because it's so small and so easy to position. Sounds good, sounds very good. The flat six engine is truly delightful. And obviously hearing the exhaust in the Boxster versus driving the GT4, because you've got the roof down. I'm pretty much sort of the opinion that you basically only drive this car with the roof down. It's kind of a crime to drive it with the roof up. But I suppose there'll be many more of them bought in warm climate countries, places like this, especially when compared to the UK. Then you get the overrun crackles, yeah, especially compared to the UK, where I think there are only about 75, 80 or so Boxster Spyders. It sounds very good there against the rocks. So the GT4 versus Boxster Spyder, I mean, in the driving like this is not going to tell us very much because I'm just cruising downhill. I'm going to put it into sport mode, and it'll tighten up a little bit, just get a little bit more engaging. I can tell you from when I have been pushing on a bit, the tyres make quite a big difference. It's amazing how much reassurance the Sport Cup 2s give you, and I'm sure the Pirelli Trofeo are a similar experience, although I'm yet to drive with them on the road at all. But those kind of like road league or almost race tyres. But what's so good is how nimble it is. It's just an absolute delight to twist and turn down this road. I mean, obviously you can have the car with bucket seats, but it's a little bit more about just enjoying the drive, the comfort of it, rather than the out and out sort of race, sort of going for it. So you just want to like cruise and enjoy and just have some fun. But equally, I can't wait to come back up where I can turn up, sort of dial it up a notch, put it into Sport Plus, and have a lot of fun. But I mean, one of the things with this car is the same gearing ratios as the GT4, so you're not really forced to change gear very much. I mean, well, so far, have I actually even changed gear once? I don't think so. Maybe I'll just put it in third just for the sake of it. Right, done. The gears have a big breadth of ability, so you could literally just stick in one gear through so much. And I think that's sort of one of the things of making a manual car appeal more to sort of the automatic, let's say, generation, because you don't have to change that much. You can obviously go down to second and manually flip it. The car doesn't do that automatically in sport. That's me having a play. But this is where I'm going to get the joy of turning around and heading uphill. This is going to be a lot of fun. For going uphill, then I think it would only be appropriate if I press Sport Plus. But this is going to be a lot of fun because this car is just, it's built to be entertaining. You know, that's why the GT4 has won so many sort of Drivers' Car of the Year awards last year, just because it's such a hilariously fun car. They weren't going for out and out speeds, they were just going to make it an entertaining drive, and they did it so well, combining the sort of characteristics of the smallest Porsche platform, the 911 engine, the different suspension setups, although this obviously the Boxster GTS suspension setup, but let's not lie, that's a pretty good system on its own. The auto blipping there, it's just a feature I love, because although you can do it yourself, why not have the car do a perfect rev blip for you when you can? It's easy. And you can just hear the exhaust crackling away every time you lift off. It kind of just makes you want to lift off just for the sake of it. Just keep it in gear, lift off, pop, crackle, bang. And then when you get a straighter bit round the tight corner, it just makes an awesome sound. And the red line is nearly up at 8,000, so you've got a lot to play with. Just twisting away, this is such a delight to drive, it's so much fun. I think, yeah, if I lived out here when the weather's like this every day and you never have to fear the rain, I think I'd be very much in line for a Boxster Spyder, perhaps over my GT4, but real world, the GT4 is just, it's one of my favourite cars, it's just amazing. Maybe you can have both, that would be the perfect world, wouldn't it? GT4 in a normal, just listen to it. Amazing. GT4 in a sort of colder climate, Boxster Spyder somewhere beautiful with the roads like this. You just can't complain. It's amazing, absolutely amazing. And I'm going to put it into first, just so we can hear a little bit more of the rev range as we pull out onto the next straight. Because, well, it's amazing. You get it so loud. that's the delight of roof down motoring, and that's why companies love to make Spyders, because they might lose something over the coupes. And I suppose, well, I don't feel any structural rigidity loss in this car. I'm sure there's a small amount, but without driving it around a racetrack, it's not going to come out. But people just love this experience, and how can you blame them? Because it's utterly, utterly brilliant. Okay, so for demonstrating this, you'll have to excuse me if I fumble slightly, because obviously I've only got one hand to do it with, because I'm going to be holding my camera. First thing you do for the roof is, in the center console here, right next to where you have those buttons I was just telling you about, the spoiler button being up there, exhaust, traction, Sport Plus Sport, are these ones which are to do with the roof. Obviously, to open it and to close it, you have different buttons. So we're going to be closing the roof, so you do that, and you can hear that the rear compartment has popped open. So I'm going to leave the engine running up here for the moment. See, neutral handbrake on, and come round and show you this. So we open up the rear compartment, which you do by lifting it up, and it's a fairly gigantic piece, but that's where you have the boot, which obviously you can fit a decent suitcase in there as well, so no problems with that. You've then got this roof panel, which as we lift it up is going to lift up these flaps, which you open and close, so it does automatically do that as you lift. And this is going to be the hard bit, because the roof panel is, you need to do this with two hands, I think. Maybe I can do it from behind, actually. No, definitely a two-hand job. So where can I delicately balance the camera? Let me just pop it down here for a moment. You'll be able to see me lift the roof mechanism through the car. So as you lift that, it automatically put the windows down. I think there's a sensor that detects that. So it's not actually latched in at the top, it's still lifted slightly. Come around the rear, close down this hatch. By dropping down, and then a gentle click, and it will snap into place. Now, you've got these parts of the material. So there's basically a little button just in here that you press and it releases it from there. And then you do the same the opposite way around here, which is again slightly fiddly. So you press the button, clip it down. Is that in? Yeah, that's clipped in. Come around and do the same on the other side. Pull that out, clip it down. You can hear that's clipped. So that's how it looks from the outside. Then to finish off the process, you jump back in, and you can see there's a hook here that's going to pull the roof down. I hope you can just about see that. So to do this, I need to gently be pulling on at the roof to pull it down, and pull the button. Difficult, and you can hear it latch in and pull that down, and then the roof is on. So let's jump out and take a look at that with the roof up. Then all that would be left would be putting up the windows. So there you have Boxster Spyder with the roof on, and it's a little bit different to the previous gen Spyder on the Boxster before, where the roof sort of looked like a canvas thing that just didn't really fit, whereas on here it looks a little bit more natural and kind of fits the shape of the car a little bit better, but also distinguishes it, of course, from the normal Boxster with the Spyder logo there on the rear quarters. I think by way of kind of a conclusion, the GT4 has kind of overshadowed the Boxster Spyder a little bit, which it totally doesn't deserve, because this in its own right is a phenomenal piece of equipment. I haven't talked too much about the driving experience because it is, of course, very similar to the GT4, and I've done many videos with my car. Just got a noisy bike coming past. One sec, because otherwise you're not going to be able to hear me. But it's an absolutely awesome car, and I think it is basically one of the perfect cars for California. Well, probably the only car I would take on top of this would be a Ferrari 250 California Spyder, because that is California in a car. I'm actually going to be driving the new Ferrari California T in not too long as well, so I'm rather looking forward to that, but that won't be out here, that will be somewhere a little bit colder. But the Boxster Spyder, immense car, a lot of fun. It's interesting for me driving one with the stock exhaust. I would certainly be immediately putting my IP exhaust back on the car, which I have on my GT4, of course, my Martini livery GT4. But I really enjoyed the drive up here. Beautiful, beautiful road, lovely weather. You'll have to excuse me if I'm a little bit not making any sense, because the heat is really getting to me. I am British after all. I am out here California. But yeah, had a lot of fun driving this, so big thanks to It's White Noise. Make sure you follow them. All the links right down below. Go check them out on Snapchat, Instagram for car event coverage from around the world. It's pretty cool stuff as well with some amazing, amazing cars. That's it though for me now, here on a lovely day in California with the Boxster Spyder. I'll catch up with you again soon. Cheers. This is the moment. This is the LaFerrari. Let's pull the paddle, pop it into gear. The touch panel to open it up. Firstly, all of the body panels on the car, except for the doors,